Hey, Dan's dad. How you doing? Came outside for a quick smoke. Doing good. Thank you. Kind of mild today. Gonna get cold though. Strange weather. 50 degrees, then 10 degrees, and unbelievable. But I guess it's almost over. Oh, it was nice here. Well, it rained today, but it was mild. Still is mild. It's like 4 degrees outside. Oh, absolutely for this time of year. But tomorrow's going to be high at 30 only. Hey, Jimmy. And down at night in the tens and teens, and I guess say goodbye to the rest of my oil. Smoking my Peterson XL29 and some Three Nuns Yellow. Poughkeepsie, New York. It's an hour north of New York City, an hour south of Albany. Right smack in the middle. And about an hour from Jersey and about a half hour from Connecticut. So right in the middle of everything. Pet Lucy for me, Jimmy. Yeah, the only complaint is don't last too long. Like 5 minutes, and then you got to put another cone on top. See, Matches just did a live video. I caught the tail end with the Pipe Nook. I didn't know you could do 2 live streams. Oh, Manhasset. I used to, as a kid, my grandmother lived in Patchogue. My father had a friend in Manhasset. And I have a few friends that live by Oyster Bay. Hi, Hat Harry. How you doing? Yeah, I gotta look into that. I'd like to wonder how that's done. My two, too. They sleep unbelievable. Wish I slept that good. I live in their house anyway. Hey, Northwest Piper, how you doing? First time you're joining. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Kind of late by you. Yeah, it's 12:40. Lester, hello. Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, I came up with the idea. I think I said it in one of my videos, but in case you didn't catch it, because I wanted to do something consistently. So if I had to think about something, I probably would not do that many videos. So by this way, it's a routine, and I enjoy doing it. People seem to like it. Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Bird's Eye Briar, hello. I like reading quotes anyway, so that's how I find all of these things. Hey, Curmudgeon, how you doing? I'm smoking Three Nuns Yellow in my Peterson XL90, XL29, XL90. I haven't invented that pipe yet. I like it. Very good. It comes in those little bullseye things. It is. I like it better than the green. I don't like the green. I like the yellow. It comes in these little bullseye things. They break up easy though, but I haven't had that. I haven't had much luck for my taste with that brand. Squadron Leader is like the only one I'm okay with. The others, I don't know. They just don't do it for me. I think I got weird taste buds anyway. Hey, George Bruno, thank you for joining. I watch all your videos. I'm a fan. Matter of fact, I'm coming to you from my shack, which I got the idea from you with the Van Gogh room, but mine's very small. Mine's 4x6. Piping and camping. Hello, how are you? Doomsday Piper, hello. Thanks for joining. Well, that's an interesting story, which I told a few times, I believe. It started with cigars. We bought a house upstate, about an hour north of New York City. I used to live in the city, so I had to cut lawn. But I used to cut lawn late at night. Not at night, at sunset basically. But the mosquitoes would eat me alive. I'm like a mosquito magnet. So I know mosquitoes don't like smoke. So I bought some cheap cigars, and it worked to keep the mosquitoes away. About a month later, I was invited to a barbecue, and after we ate, the host handed out cigars, but not the kind I was used to smoking, hand rolled cigars. I had that cigar, and it was like unbelievable. Oh, I didn't know it was that small. Um, so then I got hooked on cigars. So the only cigar store nearby was about a half hour away. So I went there, and he had a walk-in humidor. And next thing I know, I bought one of those tabletop humidors. I bought a bunch of cigars, boxes, and then I saw the pipes, and I became friendly with the guy. So then I got into pipes. Hey, Broadwalk Piper, how are you? I was with the live last night with Simon. Anyway, as like most people, I burnt my tongue unbelievable. But I still kept buying pipes thinking it was the pipe and not the idiot smoking it. But then one day I go into the tobacco shop, and he had these system pipes, and I have them still. It's the um, Gerstner system pipe, and that pipe allows you to remove the moisture. And that helped a lot, but I still wasn't getting the full effect out of it. So I still kept my pipes. And then I'm a YouTube fan of a lot of different avenues. I like woodworking, some of the gun videos, knives. I'm into a lot of different things, pens. Um, and I stumbled upon George Bruno's channel, which I watched, and I was intrigued by pipe smoking again. So I broke out my old pipes and started smoking, read up a little bit more. And for some reason, when I first started smoking pipes, I had no idea about the filtered pipes. And the filtered pipes have made it um, more easy to not get tongue bite. So, and I've been thinking about this a lot because I now can smoke pipes that don't have a filter and not burn my tongue. So, I was going to do a video on this. If I were a beginner pipe smoker, I would recommend they buy a filtered pipe because that'll mitigate the moisture issue, which will prevent the tongue bite. And over time, they'll learn how to smoke a pipe properly, and then you can remove the filter, and you less risk of having tongue bite. I think if people did that, that's just my opinion. I don't know if it would work. It worked for me. I think pipe smoking is there's a learning curve to it. And the other steep learning curve is the tobacco usually never tastes the way it smells. So it smells delicious, chocolate and liquor or rum, and you don't really get those flavors. When you smell those smells, you think of eating like a brownie if it's chocolate, or drinking a rum. But you don't get that exact, you get the nuance of it and not the exact taste. And I think that's a disappointment to a lot of people. So that's my story. So fast forward, and about 150 to 200 pipes later, here we are. And now I'm making videos, which if you told me a year ago you'd be making videos on YouTube, I'd say you're out of your mind. And I enjoy it. And I met some really cool people, and at this point, unless something changes, I would say it's going to be a lifelong uh, journey or passion, if you will. But I had a talk with myself today, and I have to stop buying pipes. That's a must. I have to stop. I have too many. And that's one problem with me. I'm an excessive. Uh, I don't know if compulsive is the word. But when I get into something, I tend to go overboard. Well, I don't know about that. I like cigars. I still smoke cigars occasionally. Cigars are more forgiving. It's you don't need a bunch of apparatus with you, um, so it's still good for a quick, enjoyable smoke. But pipes is more about if you're not hurried, you want to sit back and think about something. Or matter of fact, I didn't do the video yet. Next week's my birthday, and I bought a 1961 Dunhill, which is the year I was born. So I have a pipe that's as old as me. So I thought that was pretty cool. First tobacco, I would have to say it was, I don't know the name because a friend of mine gave it to me, but it was Black Cavendish. Dark coal like Black Cavendish. It probably was a Lane product. Maybe BCA or something like that. Hey, PT. As George Bruno would say, I'm closer to 60 than to 50. See, George, I do listen to you. I don't engage in the chopstick coffee stirring. Although I like chopsticks. I don't feel like a kid. My knees don't feel like a kid. But it is what it is. I have one in the shop now we're working on. Yeah, that's an Onion. I stole it from Onion. Although I did own lanterns before, but I didn't use them. Yeah, old pickup trucks are cool. George, are you in your Van Gogh room tonight or outside or? Hey, Will Piper, hello. Chad, welcome. Thanks for joining. A lot of first timers to my live stream. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Legendary members popping in. Good night, Northwest. Thanks for stopping in. You do it in a frying pan or your popcorn popper? I know it makes a mess. Nothing like fresh roasted coffee. Captain Bailey's, wow. Hello. Unfortunately, not drinking tonight because I'm on a diet. Started a new diet. Yeah, I try to pop in when other lives go down because I don't want to interfere. And so I saw that was almost over, so I figured let me pop in. I wanted to come out and have a pipe anyway. In my shed. I'll show you my shed, Bruno. I put a couple of pictures. It's a plastic shed. The snap-on temperature, it's 70 degrees in here, which I just turned the heat down. It's all plastic. Took about 2 hours to put together. I have a little table in here. Incense burner. I have a few more pictures I'm going to put up. There's a little window. That tree-looking statue is a incense burner. It's easier to do it this way. I'm not in my morning videos. I'm in the picture. At night in the live streams, I'm not in it. It works. It's a compromise, but it works. I picked up a little electric heater. I think this is also thanks to George Bruno, a Mr. Heat propane heater, but it's almost too hot with that. So I picked up a little electric heater and it works fine. I'm close to the house. I'm like 10 feet from the house. So I pick up Wi-Fi and I got an extension cord. Those Mr. Heat propane heaters are excellent. I got the small one. They make the big one with the 2 tanks. That would burn me out. It is. It really is. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day. An 8x10, of course, would be beautiful. But listen, beggars can't be choosy. I'm glad I have someplace to go. I was thinking about a tent, believe it or not. And then I went online looking at sheds, and I found this one. It sort of looks like an outhouse, but it's only 4x6. I could probably fit another chair in here, but it would be crammed. It's really good for one, maybe 2 people, but oh yeah, it's not big. But it's 70 degrees. Even when it's 20 degrees I can get it up to 60, 70 degrees. Absolutely. If it's raining, snowing. And it was $583. It took 2 hours to put together. Comes with a plastic floor. It's pretty well made for what it is. I mean, I can stand up in it, no problem. I'm 5'11". I think it's like 6'5" to the peak. It was called a company Cantor is the name of the company. I got it from Home Depot, but I think Lowe's has a similar one. Um, Everybody has them. Brown sugar flake. This is that the Sutliff copy. It's a great idea. I mean, it really is. If you got the room for a bigger one, it's even better yet. I think it's the latest craze. Man caves and outdoor kitchens are very big now. Um, I can smoke at work, of course. I own the shop. It's an automotive transmission shop, so but it's not the same. I'm not as relaxed there as I am home. Yeah, well, I had to come up with a plan. I was going to build one, but I said, you know what? By the time I get the wood and the winter will be over, I said, let me do something quick. And this was the quickest answer I could come up with. That the wife approved of. So it's got wife approval. So it's got the seal of approval. I, my friends laugh at me. I watched that show, Tiny House. That is a great idea. The problem is, I got too much crap. But if you think about it, I believe a house is really a waste because it costs a lot to keep up a house, and then most people get a 30-year mortgage. You take out a 30-year mortgage. After 30 years, everything in the house needs to be replaced. Now you need a new roof, new boiler. All the furniture you bought you don't like because 30 years ago your taste was different. And now you got to pour more money into this house. And if you do the math, unless you're extremely lucky, you when you sell your house, you basically break even between the interest you paid and the fixing you did. And for the most part, it's a loser. Unless you get lucky and you bought the house cheap and didn't put much money into it. I saw that recall. I'm drawing a blank right now. There's a lot of transmission recalls. Ford just has a big one now. Transmissions are a problem. I tell all my friends, even my customers, I said, if you're looking for a new car, do not buy a new car. Lease it if you can stay under the mileage. Budget the money and trade that thing in every 2 or 3 years because people don't know what they're in for. Transmissions on the new vehicles, you're looking $8,000 to $10,000 for the 8 and 10 speed transmissions, and then they're gonna go bad. They're having problems already. Ford and Chrysler are having big time problems, and so is Jeep. GM's having a there's a class action lawsuit against GM for the 8 speed transmission. Take care, Harry. And people aren't going to be able to afford it. It's a shame. It really is a shame what's happening. And that's just transmission end of things. There's other electrical problems, or it's just the list is endless. Everything goes through a module now. Even your heater controls, your radio, um, door locks. It all goes through a computer. Yeah, absolutely. That was a good transmission. 4L60E, it's called. They do have some issues. They go bad. A few things you got to do to that: change the fluid. If you have a mass airflow sensor, I think 4.8 does. Clean it every once in a while. Believe it or not, that'll affect the transmission. Don't use a KN filter. That'll ruin your transmission. Absolutely. The oil on the KN filter, all KN did is really a gimmick. It's a coarser filter material that they impregnate with oil. The oil catches the dirt without restricting airflow. It actually increases airflow. The problem is the oil gets onto the sensor, and now dirt clings to the sensor because of the oil. And a mass airflow sensor is what tells the transmission what load the motor's at. So it'll shift weird when that sensor gets dirty. A lot of people don't know this. So you go to the auto parts store, there's mass airflow sensor cleaner, comes in a can, and you spray the sensor, let it air dry, and typically that's good enough. I say you should do that probably a good practice once a year, and throw in the air filter in at the same time. We see it a lot. A guy will put a K&N filter on it to increase power, which it does increase it minuscule, but it does increase it. And then a short time later, the transmission goes bad, and they never make the connection. If you Google it, you'll come across stories about it. It doesn't apply if it's a standard, of course, only automatics. You know, in my opinion, I've been in the transmission business for 42 years. Most times the manufacturer gets it right. That's okay, the cold air intake's fine. And you can use the KN filter if you're aware of it and clean the sensor more frequently, of course. I would say every 2 months, especially if you live in a dusty area where you're on dirt roads and stuff like that. It's definitely a problem, or potential problem. But Toyota, getting back to Toyota, that's an excellent car company, and they usually correct their problems very quickly. And Toyota does the right thing usually. They stand behind it, so I wouldn't worry too much. With GM and Ford, they brush a lot of stuff under the rug to try to get by. Unfortunately, and the consumer pays dearly. So if you do buy a car, the other tip is do your maintenance, oil changes. Don't believe that BS about the transmission's lifetime sealed units. Well, see, it really gets complicated. But what happened, and really, in my opinion, a lot of this was caused by GM. When GM was in trouble, a CVT transmission is a variable speed transmission. It's an old concept. There's infinite ratios. There's two pulleys. Most snowmobiles were like that from the 70s even, and the pulleys change size to give you the different ratios. Nissan is a big advocate for it, and Subaru went to it. Subaru now has dropped it. Um, Nissan's having big issues, um, mainly because the people don't drive it properly, in my opinion. And the trannies are just too lightweight for the vehicle. I mean, I'll give you an example. The CVT and the Nissan Sentra, now you know what a Sentra is, a small car, is the same transmission that's in a Nissan Murano or Rogue. Now, we don't have to be an engineer to realize that how can you put the same transmission in a vehicle that's twice the size of a Sentra and not expect to have issues? Well, that's essentially what they did. So they have a lot of issues. And the problem is to fix them is expensive. Very few shops work on them. I work on them. Nissan will not sell you parts to fix them. So you have to source the parts from used transmissions. Nissan will only sell you a complete unit. And Nissan's remans have a 20% comeback rate. Comeback rate. Because Nissan doesn't do the reman, they sub it out, and they're having issues to where they sub it out. But getting back to the Ford and Chrysler and Jeep issue, when GM was split up because they were in trouble, they sold a lot of their companies um, to liquidate to stay afloat. So like Delphi and Allison, those were all GM owned. So now those companies are able to build stuff for other manufacturers. So Ford also um, had tranny problems of their own. They made their own transmissions also. Now there's a company called ZF. They've been around many years. It's a German company. They were mainly in BMWs, Range Rovers, that type of thing. Well, they opened up a big factory in North Carolina. They're heavy into 8 speeds and 10 speeds, which all the manufacturers needed desperately to meet the CAFE standards that the government sets so they don't get penalized. So all these manufacturers, Ford, Chrysler, Jeep, got in bed with ZF, and they have ZF transmissions. So now you have a Ford truck with a German transmission. With Ford computer software running the German transmission, which complicates matters. Fast forward, they're all having trouble, big time troubles. I mean, so big that it could hurt them. And I mean, Ford's not doing well at all right now, and they're scrambling to come up with a solution. Probably more than you wanted to know, but are you glad you asked? GM is stuck to their roots, and they still build their own transmissions for the time being. And Allison, if you can get a truck with an Allison, that's probably the best transmission that was ever made. So that's part of the story. Not all of it, but part of it. So believe it or not, this may sound like a conspiracy theory, but the death of the car is on the horizon. And when I say that, I mean in the sense of affordability, and I think Uber and electric cars are going to pave the way. And a matter of fact, most of the newer generation don't own cars. They live in cities and use public transportation. Uh, because they're out of control. I mean, a pickup truck, you get sticker shock, $70,000 for a pickup truck. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, there are some cheaper ones, but they're still overpriced. Yeah, most Toyota transmissions are pretty good. They have problems too, but the difference. Toyota's a really great company, and they take care of the stuff relatively fast. It's a company that one of the old, they really care. I mean, the Prius is probably one of the best cars made. I mean, that's a phenomenal car. I own two of them, and we had 265,000 miles on both of them. No problems at all. And believe it or not, they're not expensive to fix. The batteries you can get on eBay. Motors, you can buy a motor and transmission in a junkyard for $700 because they never go bad. I spoke to a taxi guy that owns a fleet of them. They get over 300,000 miles and never have a problem. Or the Danish pipe shop. Okay. Is it good? Thanks, George. Scion that you drive is an excellent vehicle. Also, you do 200,000 miles with that, no problems. Very good car. The world is changing, folks. Well, that's a whole different league, George. Uh, Lambos, Ferraris. I mean, I owned a Ferrari actually once. Great cars. Not the best mechanically, but you pay through the nose. Uh, Very expensive to fix. Parts are a fortune. It's called an exotic car for a reason. But if you can afford to buy the car, maintenance is not an issue for you. So don't feel sorry for a guy that owns a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. Because he knew what he was getting into. But they do hold their value for the most part. Well, Tesla's doing a pretty good job, actually. I don't know if they're going to survive because of the head case that runs the company, but um, sounds like they may be for a little rough road there. But they do make the car is really pretty good. You go to a half hour away from me in Danbury, Connecticut, and all the charging stations are full with Teslas. If you gave me a BMW, I'd turn around and sell it. In my opinion, that's the worst car. I have no respect for that company. Yeah, that's true. But any car under Enzo's reign brings a lot of money. I'll tell you what. You look up Dubai on YouTube. They're like M&Ms. Everybody's got one. The police use Lamborghinis out there. No shortage of money in Dubai. Yeah, but I tell you, even the people that live, everybody there. 20-year-old kids are driving Lamborghinis, Bugattis. Oh, really? I thought they were really friendly and everything over there. I know there's no crime. They're very strict, but everything is expensive. Food, restaurants, everything's beautiful. The malls, the incredible. Yeah, because I have a friend of mine. His daughter flies she's a stewardess basically, and is on that flight, and she loves it. She says they're so nice. So I don't know. It's one of them things you won't know until you actually experience it. Really? Wow. Huh. I won't be going there anytime soon anyway. So, but I like watching the videos of the area. It's beautiful in its own way. I'm not a big fan of traveling out of the states anyway. To be honest with you, I go to Florida. I go to Vegas once in a while. In other words, somebody kidnapped you. Well, who has to work tomorrow? Thank you. I appreciate that. I try. I'm getting better at it. Yeah, I gotta work too. It'll be a hectic week. Wow, getting very windy here. Supposed to get 60-mile-an-hour winds. Hope my shed don't take off. Yeah, I used to go shooting every Wednesday night. I haven't done that in years. Let's see. I have a 44 Python in stainless that's ported, a 357. I have a Russian Makarov a 45 officer model. I got a 1911 off the base. I have a Sig Sauer in 32 caliper. 22s. I have 22s. I have a 9mm Beretta. The 92 model, model 92. 22 Magnum Derringer. I have a Snake Slayer in 410 and 45. And what else? The 380 and the Sig Sauer. Or 308, yeah. I don't hunt anymore, so I don't have. I got a 22 rifle left. I have a German Mauser. I have some shotguns for trap shooting. I have a Weatherby over and under. My favorite gun is rifle is a Ruger number one in 270. And I had the same gun in 4570 also, in stainless. Beautiful gun. Yeah, I had. I like the Browning Satori. But all the places around here that used to have indoor targets, they're all gone. It's hard to find a place to shoot anymore. There's a club which I don't belong to, but you can shoot there Wednesday nights. 270 is a great gun. That's a 338 short cartridge. The Weatherbees are a beautiful gun. The 270 Weatherbees, famous. Inexpensive for an original. Take care, Chad. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Take care. I'm going to shut it down anyway. It's getting late. I only came out for a quick smoke. Good night, everyone. George, if you're still out there, thank you for joining. Thank everyone. Really nice of everybody stopping by. I appreciate it. It's always fun. I hope I always pique your interest a little bit. But I'll leave the lantern on for you. Okay, guys, thank you. Catch you